An accountant is analyzing the financial reports of an American chocolate firm. The information regarding the cost of its ice cream plant is given in the following table. So we have the book value, depreciation, fair value, selling cost, value in use, and expected future cash flow. If the American firm reports under US GAAP, the new balance sheet value of the asset is closest to. So is it going to be 350, 360, or 370? So under US GAAP, we are always going to hold at the lower of fair value or carrying value. Our carrying value is going to be book value minus our depreciation, so 375. And so since our carrying value at 370 is going to be lower than that, our fair value of 370. Our carrying value is going to be greater than our fair value. So we're going to report this at C, fair value, $370,000. FINA Incorporated is a construction company operating in the U.S. It is working on a long-term project whose outcome cannot be reliably measured. Assuming that FINA follows US GAAP, the most appropriate revenue recognition method for the project is A, the completed contract method, B, percentage of completion method, or C, percentage of completion method, or the completed contract method. So for these types of projects, we're going to go with answer A. The completed project method is going to be our best option here. And the reason for that is under percentage completion method, that kind of assumes that the project has some value along the way. So think of something like a house. If I'm constructing a house, if the house is half finished, it's really not worth anything yet. It's not worth half its value because you can't live in it yet. It's not usable. It's not really usable until it's completed. So because it's not usable or have value until it's completed, it makes most sense to use this type of method for revenue recognition rather than percentage of completion. Answer A. Which of the following is most likely a primary objective of financial statement analysis? Is it A, to predict the exact future stock price of a company? We are not going to be able to predict the exact stock price of a company, so we can rule out A. B, to determine the precise date of a company's bankruptcy. Again, similar to A, we're not going to be able to predict a precise date of a company's bankruptcy. We're doing financial statement analysis to inform us about the condition of the company and how well they're doing and if they're growing. We're not looking to make exact predictions or precise predictions here. So that's going to leave us with C. To assess a company's ability to generate positive cash flows continuously. This is definitely the best answer. By understanding the financials, that can help inform us of the company's profitability and whether we can expect them to continue generating positive cash flow. Answer C. ABC Corp reported a net income of $3 million for 2018. There are currently 2 million shares outstanding, and the upper management holds 200,000 share options, which are likely to be exercised. The ABC Corp's diluted EPS is closest to. So we're going to be doing a calculation for diluted EPS here. We're going to take our net income, subtract out dividends. We have net income of $3 million. It doesn't say anything about dividends here, so we don't need to worry about that. And then the difference between basic EPS and diluted EPS is for diluted, we're going to be looking at the share total, assuming these options are exercised. So we have 2 million shares outstanding, and then we're going to add to that this 200,000 share options. And so that's what's going to be our denominator. We're dividing that into 3 million, gives us 1.3636. And that's going to round closest to answer A. Twix Chemicals is a company involved in manufacturing active pharmaceutical ingredients. The firm has a storage tank for methanol that is transferred to the production floor through a pipe. Management believes that last in, first out, or LIFO, is a better method for valuing the inventory of methanol. Under which of the following reporting standards can methanol be valued using the last in, first out method? Is it under IFRS, US GAAP, or C, both IFRS and US GAAP? This one's pretty straightforward. IFRS does not allow LIFO, so they would have to use US GAAP in order to use LIFO. Answer B. The following data has been taken from Diamond Limited's financial statements. So we've got revenue of $600K, 40% of credit sales is cash sales, and average trade receivables of 60,000. If the number of days in a year is assumed as 360, the approximate days of sales outstanding is closest to 2. So there's going to be a little weird math here, but we'll work through this. So days sales outstanding is going to be average receivables divided by credit sales times 360. To get to that credit sales number is a little funky though. So our revenue is going to be equal to 0.4% or 0.4 times cash plus credit sales. So it's going to be 600,000 equals X plus 0.4X. And this is all based on this line here. So X, when we solve that algebra, is going to be 428,571.4286. So that's the amount of credit sales that we're going to plug into our formula right here and multiply by 360. And so when we do that, we get 60,000 divided by this number here. Make sure you got your parentheses in there. Gives us 50.4. Answer B. Armin Incorporated and Bristol Corp are market leaders in the construction industry. Some financial information regarding the two firms is given in the following table. So we've got some income statement information as well as balance sheet info down here. Assuming that each firm's market cap is approximately equal to the firm's total equity, Armin Incorporated's return on equity ratio is closest to. So our ROE formula is going to be our net income divided by market cap. So we're looking at Armin Incorporated. So we'll be looking at this column right here. We can ignore Bristol's numbers. Market cap is going to be share price times number of shares outstanding. So we get that number here, 12.5 million. We're given net income at 1.5 million. So we're going to divide those two numbers, and that gives us an ROE of 0.12 or 12%. Answer A. At the beginning of the year, Black Jet Corporation purchased a 5-year 7.5% bond at the par value of $1,000. Due to an increase in interest rates, the value of the bond has decreased by $135. If Black Jet recognized the bond as available for sale security and reported under US GAAP, the value of the bond would be reported as closest to. So the key here is it's available for sale. If we're holding something as available for sale, it means that we're considering selling that or trading it. And so under that scenario, we need to hold it at fair value. So to figure out fair value, we bought the bond at $1,000. It decreased by $135. So pretty straightforward calculation gives us an $865 value. And that is what we'll be holding that bond at on our balance sheet. Answer C. Which of the following is the SEC form required for firms in the United States to file before the sale of new securities to the public? Is it Form S1, Form 10Q, or Form Def 14A? So this form is going to be related to proxy statements, not related to going public. The 10Q, this is going to be a financial report that's due quarterly. And essentially that's going to be the normal financial statements, balance sheet, income statement, cash flow statement. So that's going to leave us with A, Form S1. This is one you file for an IPO or selling new securities to the public. Answer A. A company's common size balance sheet as of 31st December 2019 of a company is shown below. So we've got assets, total current assets, total assets. And then we have our liabilities down here, shareholders' equity, etc. If the industry has a debt-to-equity ratio of 50% and a long-term debt-to-equity ratio of 40%, the above company most likely. A is an electric utility company. So the giveaway here on electric utility company is the assets that we're holding. So we have net PPE and other long-term assets of 2.6 and 2.4. These would likely be a lot higher for a utility company, which is going to be very capital intensive. They're going to have a lot of real assets and equipment and other stuff like that on their balance sheet. So this number would likely be a much larger percentage of their overall assets. They wouldn't be holding 45% in cash. B has acquired a great deal of companies in the past. So to look at that, we're going to look at goodwill. And so it looks like B could be our answer. 41% of their assets are goodwill, which is essentially the intangible that you're paying above fair market value. And so that's held on the balance sheet as goodwill. So it looks like B is our answer. And then for C, we've got has a higher long-term debt to equity and debt to equity ratio than the industry. For that, we can do a calculation to rule it out. We have debt to equity of 43.8%. So that's going to be lower, and long-term debt is going to be 38%, which is going to be low, just below the industry as well. So for that reason, we can rule out C for sure, and we'll go with answer B.